supporters are watching closely. Albuquerque is a testing ground for whether abortion limits can be imposed not just at the state, but at the local level. We'll talk to Nancy Northrup, the president and CEO of the Center for Reproductive Rights. But first, I'm joined now by Kristan Hawkins, president of Students for Life, a national organization of campus pro-life groups. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Kristan, let me begin with you. 13 other states have late-term abortion bans. This is the first time in this country that a city has put this kind of initiative on the ballot. What's the strategy here?
This is really what's happening with grassroots pro-life activists who are frustrated, waiting for Washington, D.C. or their state capitals to step up and take the lead. We have a young couple in Albuquerque who have said, you know what, we're going to take a stand, and we're going to do this right here in our city, and we're going to kick out the last 2 late-term abortionists in our state, the last 4 in the country.
National organizations like the American Civil Liberties Union, Susan B. Anthony List have poured hundreds of thousands of dollars into campaign ads. Let me play a clip from one of them.
By 20 weeks, this baby can feel pain.
But in Albuquerque, thousands of babies like her and older are brutally killed through abortion.
One of the hardest things I've had to do with the doctor is tell a family that something has gone severely wrong with a pregnancy. Vote no on this false and misleading ordinance.
New Mexico has one of 3 clinics in the country where a woman can come for a 3rd trimester abortion. Colorado and Maryland are the others. So is this step 1? Do you plan to take this fight to other cities?
You know, this is a very common sense issue, one that Americans who are pro-choice or pro-life agree with banning abortions after a baby who can feel pain. I think this is a very great strategy for the pro-life movement. We're going to start in Albuquerque, and I think this is going to be the energizer for cities across the country to step up themselves and take the lead.
Only about 1% of abortions are performed after 21 weeks, and most are performed because of severe fetal abnormalities that can't even be detected until the 5th or 6th month of pregnancy. Is this just a way for pro-life activists like you to chip away at Roe v. Wade? Is what you're saying in the first question I asked you that you haven't had success necessarily on the national level, sometimes on the state level, and so you're going to continue to fight at this wherever you can?
Well, like I said, this is common sense. The fact that we're on national TV debating about having abortions on children who can feel pain, we're discussing the humanity of preborn children. And I think it says something about our society when the first thing we think about when we hear about tragic fetal abnormalities is that we're going to ship a woman off to an abortionist in a faraway state to deal with the problem. Instead of promoting prenatal hospice and services that allow her and her family to grieve and to have a healthy grieving process, this is the first thing, the most compassionate thing we can think of.
Students for Life President Kristan Hawkins, thank you so much. And now I want to bring in Nancy Northrup. Thank you so much for coming on. This is sort of a central question of this, what she just alleged, which is that babies, fetuses over 20 weeks can feel pain, and it's cruel.
What's really at issue here is the fact that for the very few women, and you pointed out it's a very small percent, who have abortions at this time, their circumstances are unique. They are sometimes, as you say, because of diagnoses that come up later in pregnancy. They need to be able to make these decisions with their doctors. And the fact that this is being subject to a ballot initiative, when you're talking about women's health care, they have a fundamental constitutional right to be able to have the health care that they need. This very small percentage who find themselves in this situation. There is a lot of interest in this there. Nearly 44,000 early votes have been cast, outpacing the mayoral election in Albuquerque. There was a recent poll there that found 54% of voters support the ban. Even if it fails to pass today, obviously, the plan is to bring it back, potentially with another petition, to move to other cities. What's the strategy on your side? Well, certainly, if it is going to pass, groups are going to be looking at suing. It's unconstitutional. It's clearly unconstitutional. Every place that these 20-week bans have been challenged, they have been enjoined by courts. And in fact, all the way up to the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, and that is a decision where they said it's just so clearly unconstitutional under Roe. And that's because the court recognized that these are highly personal decisions that need to be made by women and their doctors. This is not to be made by the voters.
This obviously is a Republican-led effort. A Quinnipiac national poll recently found 55% would prefer abortion be legal up to 20 weeks, but only 30% 24 weeks. If national sentiment seems to be moving toward that 20-week limit, could this vote in Albuquerque, and to your point, if the potential is there that it could pass, could it have national implications?
Well, there's already a campaign to do this, and as I said, where it has been challenged in court, they have been blocked. I think what's important to know is that the Supreme Court said that states can, and most do, ban abortion after viability. And so what's at issue here is for those women who find themselves in a difficult personal medical situation in which they need to be deciding with their doctors. And you can talk about polls, but really the question is, when a woman is sitting there, what decision does she make for herself? People sometimes tell pollsters one thing, but when they're actually in the shoes of having to make a decision, they make a decision different than what they might tell a pollster.
Nancy Northrup of the Center for Reproductive Rights, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Today's tweet of the day comes from New York Magazine. In the past 2 years, 26 states have passed more than 111 provisions restricting abortion.
Tweet of the day is brought to you by CSX, how tomorrow moves.
Can you start tomorrow?